Hi, I'm Glenn Gable, and welcome to another From Pen to Page story review. Today we are covering Mark Danielewski's House of Leaves, an interesting kind of meta cult novel that deals with horror elements, psychological drama, and just the ideas of how storytelling is done. It's a really interesting book. Before we dive into it, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell. Okay, House of Leaves. What can I say about this book except it's a complete mind screw? I don't know how else to put it because this book is really interesting and really weird at the same time. So it's all about this guy named Johnny Truant, who is kind of a down and out drifter kind of a kid. He's a young man who's going through his own personal problems and relationship problems that comes across a manuscript written by an old blind academic that sort of died under mysterious circumstances. And the academic's name is Zampano. Now, Zampano wrote this manuscript about a documentary film called the Navidson Record. So this is kind of like a story within a story within a story, if you get that idea. Anyways, this documentary chronicles a family that buys a house in, I think it's like the Upper East Coast, upstate New York or something. Anyways, they buy this house and the house is weird. And it's weird because the inside of the house is larger than the outside of the house. And rooms and hallways keep appearing and keep going down and further. And it's almost like what's called a liminal space. If you ever heard of the Backrooms video series, it's a lot like that. The house sort of opens up supernaturally in weird ways that it shouldn't. And it's about this family that chronicles this weird phenomenon of their house growing in weird and strange ways and leading them somewhere. They don't know where. So it's like young guy finds the manuscript writer chronicles the documentary film. The documentary film is about a family that is falling apart as they try and discover the mystery behind their ever-growing home. Hope I explained it well enough. It's a little convoluted at times. Anyways, what happens though is as Truant, our first protagonist, reads this manuscript, he discovers that Zampano, the writer of the manuscript, suffered a somewhat morbid fate and somehow became cursed by watching this film. It's like the house came out of the film and cursed the author writing about it. And then the author, as he writes about it, curses the reader, Truant. And then, of course, the very first page of the novel says, "This is not for you." So it's like you're cursed too as you read it. And let me tell you, it's creepy because I can't swear, but I thought I heard some weird noises in the house while I was reading the book. I mean, it really does get under your skin how creepy this story gets. It's super interesting, super original. And for that reason, I really, really enjoyed it. Because not only did it play with tropes, an idea that, we've talked about in the past, it also played with themes and it actually played with the words on the page. So as we are reading through Truant's eyes this manuscript about this weird home, we find that the manuscript writer, Zampano, starts creating words and text and references all over the page, almost like in an E.E. Cummings sort of way. Like just, it gets more and more crazy as you read through it. And the footnotes, side note, the footnotes to this story are sometimes longer than the actual text of the story on the page. So it gets really out there. It's kind of really outside the box, and it makes for a really interesting horror and psychological drama type novel. Anyway, so I loved the way that Danielewski created this. And I guess he started writing this online and it sort of conglomerated it into a novel several years later. It was kind of a viral thing for a long time, though. I love what he did with it. I love the characters. Really great. So I always talk about things I enjoy about a story and things that I don't enjoy about the story. This was as original and interesting as this was, and as great a job as he did as creating a tone and a setting and characters and situations that were so creepy that you literally felt like you were part of the story. As great as that was, it was exhausting to read. I mean, the footnotes alone, if you ever kind of question what you read or wonder where certain references come from, don't pick up this book because you'll spend more time looking up the footnotes than you will reading the story. I mean, the footnotes are, again, insane. It's not something that you could pick up and read casually, you know, at the beach. Like, you really need to be focused and attentive while you're going through it. It does pay off. The storylines do converge. In fact, there's a really interesting subplot about the family that, as they're uncovering the mystery of the house and why the house is growing and where it leads to, the relationship between the man and the wife, the couple, you know, is falling apart. And really, by figuring out what's going on with the house, they are able to eventually, I think, kind of salvage their relationship. So it's an interesting little subplot that I think Danielewski could have done more with, because it really was kind of the grounding that we needed in this super crazy story. There was a relational grounding that I thought really worked well, but he didn't touch too much on it, unfortunately. But yeah, hard read, requires a lot of focus. I would not recommend it for most readers unless you really love sci-fi, horrors, or psychological dramas. In that case, if you do like it a lot, I'm going to give it 4 stars. Again, not easy to read, can be challenging, can sometimes drag on, but it has amazing concepts, really plays against tropes, plays against genres, and takes you to some really unexpected, interesting places. If you decide to give it a read, I'd love to know what you think in the comments. And if you're looking for a fantastic read, check out The Soothsayer. I'll see you next time.